If you have ever caught yourself pushing off the armrests of your couch with all your upper body strength just to stand up, or felt your knees hesitate when stepping off a curb, you must recognize these signs as an urgent biological alarm.
Just a little further.
Human aging does not affect all skeletal muscles
Nearly
equally.
there.
Clinical
Just need a
neuromuscular studies conclusively prove that the major muscle groups of your lower legs atrophy up to 2 times faster than the muscles in your arms or shoulders as you pass the age of 60. This silent, accelerated loss of lower extremity muscle mass, clinically known as age-related sarcopenia, selectively targets your fast-twitch type 2 muscle fibers, the exact biological fibers responsible for sudden balance recovery, steady walking, and explosive standing strength. When your thigh quadriceps, gluteal anchors, and calf stabilizers lose their functional contractile power, your central nervous system loses its ability to react swiftly to unexpected trips or uneven footings, drastically elevating your risk of catastrophic falls. Tragically, millions of aging adults completely misinterpret this progressive leg weakness as an inevitable byproduct of aging, unknowingly allowing their leg muscles to waste away deeper into functional dependency every single day. Every day spent with weak lower extremities accelerates the collapse of your natural biomechanics, causing excessive mechanical stress to transfer directly into your cartilage padding, hip sockets, and vulnerable lower spine. To make matters worse, traditional standing workouts or high-impact leg exercises often impose overwhelming vertical joint compression and fall hazards, terrifying seniors away from essential physical activity altogether. The groundbreaking reality of orthopedic rehabilitation is that you can completely halt sarcopenia and reactivate your dormant motor units using 5 specialized seated exercises that carry absolute zero fall risk and zero vertical joint compression. By utilizing targeted isometric contractions and controlled seated extensions, you send powerful electrical signaling from your brain down into dormant leg muscle fibers, forcing them to synthesize fresh muscle protein and rebuild structural density. Re-establishing lower body strength right from a comfortable living room chair re-anchors your pelvis, stabilizes your kneecaps, and restores rich, nutrient-filled synovial fluid circulation throughout your hips and knees. Furthermore, strengthening your leg muscle sleeve creates an internal shock absorber that dampens everyday impact forces before they can ever reach your thinning articular cartilage or sensitive spinal discs. You do not have to accept leg weakness, rely on walking frames, or surrender your physical independence as an inevitable consequence of growing older. Your neuromuscular system retains an extraordinary, lifelong capacity for neuroplasticity, allowing your muscle fibers to rebuild, fire faster, and gain strength regardless of whether you are 60, 70, or 85 years old. In this comprehensive medical blueprint, Dr. Robbert will reveal the step-by-step mechanics of 5 surgical-grade seated exercises designed specifically to restore solid leg power safely from your chair. These therapeutic seated movements require no expensive machinery, take less than 10 minutes each morning, and can be easily performed by anyone, regardless of current mobility levels. By dedicating just a few focused minutes each day to this clinical seated protocol, you can rebuild robust lower body strength, safeguard your independence, and walk with total confidence. Before we begin demonstrating the first seated exercise together, let us perform a detailed medical deep dive into the cellular mechanisms of age-related lower body muscle loss. Let us examine your leg muscle anatomy and nerve signaling pathways to understand precisely why seated targeted activation is the safest, most effective key to lifelong mobility. Sit back comfortably in your chair, take a slow, deep breath, and prepare to discover the exact medical secrets that will transform your leg strength and revitalize your health. To fully comprehend why lower body muscle mass degrades so rapidly after 60, we must examine the neuromuscular mechanisms behind age-related motor unit denervation. Each motor unit consists of a single alpha motor neuron originating in the spinal cord. and all the specific muscle fibers that it electrically energizes and controls. As the human body ages, physical inactivity and systemic oxidative stress cause a gradual loss of these spinal motor neurons, leaving thousands of leg muscle fibers completely disconnected from neural signaling. When muscle fibers lose their neural connection, they rapidly shrink, lose mitochondrial density, and undergo fatty infiltration, causing your thighs and calves to lose their firm, functional strength. This selective atrophy affects the quadriceps muscle group most severely, particularly the vastus medialis teardrop muscle and the rectus femoris, which stabilize your knees during daily walking. The first surgical-grade seated exercise designed to reverse this neural disconnection and rebuild front thigh power is the seated quad extension with foot dorsiflexion. This movement isolates and reactivates dormant quadriceps motor units without putting any vertical compressive weight on your knee joint cartilage or lumbar vertebrae. To execute exercise 1 properly, sit firmly upright on a sturdy, non-cushioned chair with your spine straight, chest open, and feet resting flat on the floor at a 90-degree angle. Slowly extend your right lower leg straight out in front of you until your knee reaches full horizontal alignment, parallel with the floor. At peak horizontal extension, pull your toes firmly back toward your shin and squeeze your front thigh muscle intensely for 3 full seconds, feeling the deep muscular contraction. Lower your foot back to the floor over a controlled 3-second eccentric phase, ensuring your leg moves smoothly without swinging or using momentum. Complete 10 controlled repetitions on your right leg before pausing for a brief breath and repeating the identical sequence with your left leg. This targeted seated extension forces motor units to fire rapidly, sending high-frequency electrical impulses down your spinal nerves to stimulate fresh muscle protein synthesis. Because your foot remains unweighted in open kinetic chain motion, your knee cartilage experiences absolute zero compression while your thigh muscle rebuilds its natural tone. The second surgical-grade seated exercise is the seated isometric hip flexor press, engineered to strengthen the psoas and iliacus muscles that lift your legs during walking. Sit upright near the front edge of your chair. Place both hands flat on top of your right thigh, slightly above the knee, and take a calm, deep breath. Attempt to lift your right knee upward against the firm downward pressure of your hands, creating an intense isometric struggle where no actual joint movement occurs. Hold this powerful isometric contraction for 5 full seconds, feeling the deep core and hip flexor muscles engage beneath your hands before relaxing slowly. Repeat this isometric press for 8 to 10 controlled repetitions per leg to restore strong hip lifting power and prevent your feet from dragging on carpeted floors. Let us now prepare to examine exercise 3, designed specifically to strengthen your inner thigh adductors and reinforce lateral kneecap alignment. Exercise 3 in our orthopedic seated protocol is the seated pillow squeeze with adductor engagement, engineered to reactivate dormant inner thigh muscles and recenter your kneecaps. Extended sitting and sedentary habits cause the adductor longus and gracilis muscles to weaken, allowing the dominant outer thigh structures to pull the kneecaps off-center during walking. By squeezing a firm pillow or exercise ball between your knees, you immediately fire your inner thigh muscle fibers, restoring balanced lateral tension across your patellofemoral joints. To execute exercise 3, sit upright on your chair with your feet flat on the floor. Place a firm pillow between your inner knees and sit with a tall, erect posture. Exhale slowly through your mouth while squeezing your knees together against the pillow with 50% of your maximum effort, feeling the deep contraction along your inner thighs. Hold this powerful inward squeeze for 5 full seconds while maintaining smooth, continuous abdominal breathing, ensuring you never hold your breath during the contraction. Release the inward pressure slowly over a controlled 2-second phase. Take a deep breath through your nose and repeat for 10 deliberate repetitions. This targeted inward squeeze stabilizes your pelvic floor and strengthens the inner quadriceps teardrop, preventing your knees from caving inward or wobbling during movement. The fourth surgical-grade seated exercise is the seated heel dig with hamstring iso hold, designed to fortify the back of your legs and stabilize the posterior knee capsule. Most daily activities rely excessively on front thigh strength, leaving the hamstrings elongated, weak, and unable to protect your knees from forward shearing forces. Sit slightly forward on the edge of your chair. Extend your right leg forward so that only your right heel rests firmly against the floor, and keep your toes pointing upward. Without bending your spine, press your right heel down into the floor, while simultaneously pulling the heel backward toward your chair as if trying to bunch up a rug. Hold this intense isometric contraction for 5 full seconds, feeling your upper hamstring and upper calf muscles lock into strong engagement right behind your knee joint. Release the downward tension gently, take a calm breath, and complete 8 to 10 slow repetitions on your right leg before switching to your left leg. Strengthening the posterior leg muscle sleeve establishes dynamic balance around your knee joints, absorbing step impacts before they can ever reach your cartilage padding. The fifth and final seated movement is the seated ankle alphabet with calf pump, designed to restore full ankle mobility and activate your calf muscle venous pump. Sit back comfortably in your chair, lift your right foot 2 inches off the floor, and use your big toe as a pointer to draw large, imaginary capital letters from A to Z in the air. This multiplane ankle rotation strengthens the tibialis anterior and peroneal muscles while pumping stagnant venous blood and lymphatic fluid from your lower legs back to your heart. By practicing these 5 targeted seated exercises daily, you build a robust, shock-absorbing muscle frame that restores solid leg strength and protects your joints from age-related decline. Let us now explore the essential biological nutrients, joint fluid hydration secrets, and daily recovery habits that accelerate muscle fiber repair and keep your lower legs strong at any age. The first critical mistake that accelerates lower leg muscle loss in aging adults is remaining seated for hours without standing or performing brief muscle contractions, known clinically as sedentary muscle disuse. When leg muscles remain completely inactive for extended stretches, neural signaling from your spinal cord drops to baseline levels, causing fast-twitch muscle fibers to rapidly shrink and lose contractile tone. Every 60 minutes spent sitting, simply extend your knees or perform 10-foot pumps right in your chair to keep your motor units electrically active and maintain blood circulation through your lower extremities. The second major error is avoiding all leg exercises out of fear that movement will worsen minor knee crackling, joint stiffness, or mild discomfort. Completely resting an aging joint starves the articular cartilage of synovial fluid circulation, accelerating cartilage dehydration while causing the surrounding leg muscles to atrophy even faster. Gentle, non-impact seated exercises pump protective joint fluid and rebuild surrounding muscle strength without placing a single pound of destructive compressive weight on your joints. The third critical mistake is relying on momentum or swinging your legs rapidly while performing seated extensions, completely bypassing muscle engagement. Swinging your lower leg uses centrifugal gravity rather than muscle fiber recruitment, depriving your quadriceps of the necessary mechanical tension needed to stimulate protein synthesis and motor unit firing. Perform every seated extension with strict, slow control, taking 2 full seconds to lift, holding a peak isometric contraction, and taking 3 full seconds to lower your foot. The fourth major error is neglecting daily dietary protein intake, mistakenly assuming that muscle building only matters for young athletes or heavy weightlifters. Aging muscle cells experience a natural biological decline in protein sensitivity, known as anabolic resistance, requiring adequate amino acids to trigger muscle tissue synthesis and repair. Ensure you consume clean, high-quality protein sources such as fish, eggs, poultry, or plant proteins daily to provide your muscle fibers with essential building blocks following seated exercise. The fifth critical mistake is failing to stay adequately hydrated throughout the day, underestimating the direct impact of water on cellular muscle function and joint fluid viscosity. Muscle tissue is composed of over 75% water, and mild dehydration impairs muscle fiber contraction strength, increases fatigue, and reduces synovial cushioning inside joint capsules. Sip fresh water consistently from morning until evening to maintain optimal cellular hydration, fuel muscle contraction, and keep your cartilage cushioned and resilient. By eliminating these 5 destructive habits, you stop the silent biological cycle that quietly strips away your lower leg strength day after day. Replacing disuse and improper technique with our 5 surgical-grade seated exercises gives your motor units the exact stimulation needed to rebuild firm, reliable leg power. Let us now transition into integrating these 5 therapeutic movements into a seamless, enjoyable daily morning blueprint that fits effortlessly into your schedule. This structured daily routine ensures you achieve maximum motor unit activation, joint fluid circulation, and lower body stability in under 8 minutes a day. With consistent daily practice, you will reclaim solid leg strength, rebuild your balance, and enjoy complete physical independence for decades to come. Welcome to the 5th and final phase, your daily 5-exercise seated blueprint for ultimate leg strength, motor unit activation, and lifelong mobility. In clinical neuromuscular rehabilitation, steady daily practice is exponentially more powerful than occasional heavy exertion when it comes to reinnervating motor units and rebuilding aging leg muscle fibers. Begin every single morning, immediately after waking up, by drinking a full glass of fresh water to hydrate your muscle tissue and restore fluid viscosity to your joint capsules. While seated comfortably in your morning chair, execute 10 controlled seated quad extensions with foot dorsiflexion per leg, squeezing your front thigh muscle intensely for 3 full seconds at peak extension. Follow your extension sequence immediately with 10 repetitions of the seated isometric hip flexor press per leg, pressing your hands down on your thigh to fire your deep psoas and iliacus muscles. Next, place a firm pillow between your knees and complete 10 repetitions of the seated pillow squeeze, holding each inward compression for 5 full seconds to engage your inner thigh adductors. Transition smoothly to the seated heel dig with hamstring iso hold, pressing your heel into the floor and pulling backward for 8 to 10 slow repetitions per leg to fortify your posterior leg sleeve. Conclude your morning routine with 30 seconds of the seated ankle alphabet with calf pump, rotating your ankles and pumping your calves to drive fluid and blood back up to your heart. This complete targeted seated routine takes under 8 minutes each morning, establishing an unshakable foundation of lower body strength, balance, and joint fluid circulation before your day begins. Whenever you transition from sitting to standing throughout the day, maintain conscious mindfulness over your posture, ensuring your knees drive directly over your toes without letting your legs wobble. If your lifestyle involves prolonged sitting, set a gentle hourly alarm to extend your legs or perform 10 ankle pumps to keep motor units electrically active. In the evening, fuel your body's cellular muscle synthesis by enjoying a clean, protein-rich meal paired with healthy fats and antioxidant vegetables. Within the first 10 days of adhering to this daily seated protocol, you will feel a distinct reduction in morning leg heaviness, joint stiffness, and foot dragging. Between days 11 and 20, as your quadriceps and hamstrings rebuild structural tone, your standing balance will stabilize, completely eliminating sudden feelings of lower body weakness. By day 30, robust 360-degree muscle support surrounding your legs will empower you to stand up smoothly, climb stairs, and walk with total, effortless confidence. Always remember that muscle recovery and joint preservation are lifelong biological journeys that reward gentle, consistent daily care rather than sudden overexertion. Listen attentively to your body's signals, honor your daily physical progress, and take deep pride in every strong, confident step you take toward preserving your independence. Sharing this surgeon-backed seated leg routine with your loved ones will inspire everyone around you to take proactive, empowering control of their lower body strength and mobility. You now possess the exact clinical biomechanics, 5 surgical-grade seated exercises, and daily blueprint required to lock your lower legs into lifelong strength and protection. Take charge of your health today. Rebuild your natural muscular support sleeve and give your legs the reliable power, stability, and independence they truly deserve. This is Dr. Robbert, wishing you vibrant physical health, resilient, strong legs, and a steady, confident stride every single day of your life.